inspiring transformation.
Hello, and welcome to TouchPoint with Tayo on Jambo Radio, the show where everything matters. I'm your host, Tayo Oweye. It's a good and bright day here in Glasgow. On TouchPoint, we engage African realities. We explore vital issues that concerns Africa and Africans in diaspora, and we also educate our minds. Today on TouchPoint, we are navigating new horizons. Yeah, someone talked to me and said, "Oh, why are we still navigating?" We say we navigate every day, but this time around we are navigating new horizons. We're talking about career migration and strategies. I have a guest in the house, and is joining me live from London, here in the United Kingdom, and is joining Jambo Radio here in Glasgow. He is Mr. Gbenga Sogbaike, a content marketing professional. Hey Gbenga, you're welcome
Hi,
to Touchpoint with Tayo. How you doing
thank
today
you.
now?
I'm good though. I'm not even sure what to do the camera.
Okay, I think you're looking good.
Thank you, sir. Same,
You're
same
looking
as
good.
you.
You're looking good. These chicks are robust. Things are
It's
doing well.
London.
It's London chicks. I love it. If you can give some to me in Glasgow, I will gladly receive
Yeah.
it.
I'm trying to reduce it so I can always send some.
Okay. Probably you also give me the remedies for reductions, because if you send it, I'll probably go beyond what I'm plan to have in life. Yeah. Thanks for joining today on the conversation, and viewers, you know where to join us. Some of you are joining us right now on the YouTube platform on Jambo Radio Scotland, and on X on Jambo Radio Scotland also, at jamboradio.scot, and on Facebook on Jambo Radio Scotland, on Instagram at jamboradio.scotland, and you can also email us info@jamboradio.co.uk. Send us a comment. We would like you to engage with this issue concerning career migration and strategies. How immigrants navigate new horizons. Gbenga, let me start this conversation with a picture I want to paint for you.
Yeah.
Imagine your career as a road trip. What would be the most memorable stop along the way, and what song would you be playing in the background?
Do you want me to give you a specific bus stop
Uh, uh, well, if you have several bus stops that you have stopped, and and different songs, I'm sure
well,
our audience and viewers would like to know the particular song that probably fits into that bus stop.
it's a bit um, difficult to find one song, um, but because I think I'm an hopeless optimist.
Mm.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm always thankful, regardless of whatever the situation is. So it will most likely be a Christian song. There's this song by this guy, An Endless Ocean. I'm not sure I can't sing the song, but it's something along the lines of it's an appreciation song, sort of.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
So I think that's what really captures it for me.
Not like, okay, not like,
Yeah,
there are some songs that we probably sing in some parts of Africa. I'm sure you know that the world is a war zone. I will have brought my armor and everything along, but you
yeah.
know,
If I like something like if I had known,
if
if
you had
I had
known,
known, some. I think that's a. There's this song by what's his Adekunle Gold or is this Simi or something like if
okay,
I had known. But yeah, it's a mixed bag.
mm,
It's both good and bad. It's up and downs and all that.
mm,
So, well, in the end, it's going to be a song of appreciation.
oh,
Really. It's yeah. It's honestly that's the worst. That's the only song that comes to my mind. It's something of appreciation. It's been different bus stops, different stops along the way.
mm,
One of the most impactful turnaround,
mm,
so to say, of my life it has been or was or is when I left my first paid job. So
mm,
when I left it, I got a job with Jobberman. That's a jobs platform, and I was there. I started as an intern, and then I left. I think after 2 or 3 years, and that was the first time I really, started on the entrepreneurship journey.
mm.
Because that's what I've always wanted to do anyway. So that was like a major turning point for me because I was leaving the comfort of a paid employment to
Mm.
go and start the life of stable income and all that. And even though that was not my first entrepreneurship experience, I did try to do a few things here and there while I was in intern.
Yeah.
But after school, that was the first, and I think that was like a major decision for me because I could have just stayed in my job. And after then, it's been yeah, consulting, doing my own thing, being self-employed,
Mm.
co-founding a business, and all that. So
Mm.
yeah, it's been both good and bad.
It's a mixed
It's been
bag.
yeah, it is. That's what it is.
Mm, okay. So, if we look at the issue of migration, career migration specifically, and the strategies that people are actually using towards that, there was a statistics in which I read, which I mean is just evident that that about the share of workers, that means immigrants, are employed in the UK had grown steadily, increasing between 2004 and 2024. And migrants who came to the UK for work were the most likely to be employed and least likely to be unemployed. What would you say to that statistics?
Migrants who came to the UK were the most likely to be
To
employed. I'm not
be,
quite sure.
yeah, to be employed and least likely to be unemployed in 20, that was as at 2022. Do you think it's still
Okay.
right that those who migrated for work's sake really get the job?
Well, well, yeah. It's yes and no. I'm not particularly sure if it's that the number has risen or it's still the same or it has reduced. But I know that yes, people do get jobs when they migrate. Whether it's the job they intended is what I'm not sure.
Mm.
Right. Speaking specifically on the UK situation, I know that many migrants that come here, whether you come as a student and then decide to stay and work, or
Mm-hmm.
you come directly to work here. Most times, or many times, you find many people complaining that the jobs they are being offered are not the ones they thought they were going
Mm.
to get. They are not. They're usually a step down from where or
Where
what they
they're
used to
coming
do.
from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So then we need to understand that most people that come now, this is based on my own experience, not based on objective data or stats.
Mm.
But I believe most people that come here, especially from Nigeria, are usually um, I would say they come from either the lower middle class or the middle class. Right? They are
Okay.
not most they are not particularly um, poor in that sense. They are
Mm-hmm.
not. They are equally skilled. But of course, when you come here, you have to update your skills. You have to get upskill yourself and all that. But I would say yes, many people do come here and then get a job. But whether the job is what they intended for or what they wanted initially, is what I
It's
can't
another
say.
story entirely.
And frankly, again, it's not. I'm not trying to say this is the reality of everybody, but I
Yeah.
know that the easiest jobs to get in the UK, even when you get your masters in the UK, are usually jobs at the base of the economy. Um,
Yeah. We'll still
Whether
talk
it's
about that. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, they do get jobs, but the job is what is a
The
is a
nature of the
different
job
matter.
is quite
Of the
different.
job, that type of job, yes.
Okay, so if you look at the motivation for migration for quite a number, we've talked about that on this show. But
Yeah.
in terms of career, do you think what prompts migrants to consider migrating in terms of their career from Africa? I mean, specifically from Africa or from the developing nations.
Well, yeah, I would say opportunities. Yeah, it's the desire for better opportunities, especially the career migration part. Right? People have different reasons why they want to migrate, but
Yeah.
the opportunities, I would say, which are the major pull factor. Or yeah, the job opportunities and another opportunities that you most likely get. To me, are the major pull factor for many people that want to migrate. Now, the opportunities in terms of the jobs, the opportunities in terms of the pay, the opportunities in terms of the benefits, the opportunities in terms of the career progression, right?
Yeah.
If you stayed back in Nigeria, if you were earning say 500,000 in Nigeria in 2022 and playing the same 500,000 in 2024, you know already that the value of that of your salary has reduced by at least
Yeah.
4x.
Yes. Do you think
It's
that
like
is only? Do you think that is only particular to Nigeria or Africa in general?
not necessarily there is inflation in every economy, but we can't compare what Nigeria's inflation is actually I think it's likely the worst that we've seen in Africa within the last 2 years. And now I know Zimbabwe had a really terrible situation, but I know based on what I know Nigeria's inflation has been very very bad. At least based on what I know, I stand to be corrected. So the value of the naira or the value of your salary has significantly dropped. Right now, but for those who have moved to the UK, it's not the same, right? Yes, there is. We all have the cost of living issue every, almost in every country. But
Yeah.
I would still, um, and this is based on what I've also heard from people. I would still want to say that things are still more affordable in the UK.
Seemingly,
Yeah, what you're earning.
seemingly
Yeah,
affordable.
yes, I know, but when so someone recently traveled back to Nigeria, and the things they would normally buy, go to, I don't want to mention the supermarket, but one of the supermarkets, right, and you get for maybe 50K.
Yeah.
By the time they left, they were paying 200K, and the person was complaining, right? I've heard people say they want to buy things here. People going to Nigeria say they want to buy things here and take it to Nigeria because they are not because the news from home is that it's more expensive back home.
I witnessed
So
it.
exactly. So if so for those who stayed back, their earning power has drastically reduced. The only time of the only people who I would say have fared better are those who live in Nigeria and earn forex, and then maybe in
Oh,
dollars or in pounds. Yeah, so they can't really come. Of course, things have become expensive for everybody, but at least they earn in dollars.
but I
Their
think that
money is
is like the latest
yeah,
form of employment now. That
yes,
most,
yeah,
especially Gen Z, are probably getting such a job at this
yes.
moment.
Yeah, yeah, Gen Z's, millennials too, right?
Yeah.
In the end, I think it's about it mostly boils down to the kind of skills you have, right?
Mm,
If you have
mm,
tech skills, digital skills, those are most of those who can work remotely or who work remotely
mm.
for global companies from anywhere in the world typically have those kind of skills, tech skills, digital skills, customer service skills, and all the marketing and all that.
So if one will now look at the biggest challenges that career people face during migration process. I mean, what are the biggest challenges professionally and personally during migration process for those that moved or migrated as a result of career opportunities?
Um, there are quite a number of challenges. I think one would be adapting to the new system that you found yourself in, right? Whether it's the work culture in the new country you've moved
Mm,
to, or yeah, work culture is one. But you see, that's even the work part where you have to now learn to adapt to the way things are done in that particular company or in that particular country. But there's also the part of you moving away from home. It's never really easy for anybody,
yeah,
frankly. Um, it's you trying to learn new things. It's you trying to live in a culture that is foreign to you.
yeah.
Even if you have been traveling, it's not the same thing as
It's not the
being here
same.
permanently.
It's not the
Yeah.
same.
So
Even in terms of that concept, there is this concept uh, back at home that the concept of ogota.
yeah, well, okay.
What,
Yeah.
what will you say to that? I mean, for those who don't actually understand that concept of ogota, is that no matter what you do in a particular system,
Mm,
you will still receive your salary.
yeah.
Either the work is done or the work is
Yeah.
not done.
Yeah.
How do you see that concept? Do you
This.
think is one of the concept that is the bane of Africa today? The the concept of not having time matching work.
Yeah. Well, yes, in a way, it's the truth is whether it's in Africa or I think it's more. It depends on the company and it depends on the
Mm,
nature of work.
mm,
Right? There are some, yeah, in this place, in this country, you get paid by the hour. But again, the person that works in a factory needs to actually do the work.
you need to.
Uh, that's it.
You need
So
to do the work.
what you earn at the end of the day is based on the number of hours you work.
You
So
work.
there are some
Yes.
jobs like that where your pay is directly calculated or is directly it's calculated based on the number of
Based on
hours you
the
work. But
work. The work.
there are some jobs also in the UK where it's not about the number of hours you work. You have a stated salary that you be paid at the end of the month, and then you just need to make sure you show up
It's
and
just
then
on
you do
your
the
KPI or anything
your
like that.
KPIs and your results that will determine how long you get to keep that job. Not
Yeah.
just, and then the other thing about company culture, work culture in this country is that I've also realized that it's not just about the work you do or the quality of work you do. There's a lot
Yeah.
of politics involved.
Yeah.
A lot of politics involved in the way work is done here. For people like me, I'm not really interested in politics. I just want to do my work
Yeah.
and go. But then
I mean,
it's
we've seen enough politics from our
yes,
from our home country. So why
yes,
should I now come to the host country and start playing politics? The politics
yes.
that the
It's a
son
big
of the
deal.
soil are there.
Yeah, it's a big deal. there's a lot of politics within the of in the office. There's a lot of politics involved at work.
Yeah.
That. So you have to learn to adapt. That's one of the things you need to adapt to. The fact that you're doing a great work really does not mean you get promoted at the right time.
Yeah.
Does not mean you get a salary increase at the right time. There's a lot of you learning how to navigate office politics that you need to do here. If in
But
Nigeria, yeah,
okay. Go on, Gbenga.
if in Nigeria you've not been paying attention, yeah, you need to pay attention. People, I've heard stories of people not getting passed on for um, for say certain benefits because they don't
Mm-hmm.
join the rest of the guys to go to the pub after work.
Yeah.
So now for those that don't drink, I don't know how you're going to navigate that, but the point here is that you need to learn to make make those valuable connections here and there. Right? You don't necessarily. Another thing is that I've also realized that most people, your colleagues, they are not your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't yeah, you can be nice, you can be kind, you can be cordial and all that, but they're not necessarily your friends. And in fact, you will learn quickly when it's time to throw you under the bus. That's one thing I've seen and I've heard
But do you
across
think
the board.
that's cut across every work or
I would say the majority. Most of the stories are usually not very good. Um, and I'm not saying that there are no nice people or kind people here, but we need to be careful. Don't there's this jovial. There's this. I don't know how to even
the
describe it.
joviality of
You know, that's
colleagues?
exactly the way you can't don't forget yourself. I think that's the right way to put it. You can be nice, be kind, but don't forget that you're at work. Now, don't
Yeah.
also forget that the culture here is a bit. It's not exactly like our culture in Africa or in Nigeria,
There's no
right?
family
People are
system.
very yeah. There's no and then too much familiarity can land you in trouble
Yeah.
in this environment. So too much family. In fact, a simple compliment can make you lose your job. So keep your compliments to yourself, especially when it's an opposite sex, it's a
Yeah.
member of the opposite sex. Right? So
Mm.
keep your compliments to yourself. Just do your job. Be kind. Don't be overly nice. Don't be too. Don't be in people's spaces and all that.
You allowed me to remember, hold on to this and don't let go of the other.
Yes, yes. So it's one of the things people need to learn, right?
Mm.
It's the way things work in Nigeria, things don't work here.
The same way.
And it's not good or bad. It's not that Nigeria is good, Nigeria is better, or this place is worse, or this place is better. It's just the way things are.
It's just the culture. And there is no
Yeah.
uncle, there is no brother,
No, no,
anything
no.
like that.
There's no uncle, there's no brother, there's no sir, there's no woman. Call people by their names.
No, and no baba or
No, nobody is
he's
like
my
that here.
he's,
Nobody is
he's
like
my daddy.
that. Nobody is like that. If you are too respectful, they'll start thinking, they might start looking like, what exactly is happening here? Just do your work and all that. So I think, yeah. So that's the point I've been trying to make. The difference in culture means that when you move to another country, you need to adapt to the culture in
Yeah.
that country. You need to try your best. Yeah, assimilate. Yes, adapt to it. Be kind to your host. Be good to your host.
But do your
You need to,
work.
yeah, but do your work absolutely. If you don't do your work, you're going to go hungry. There's no doubt to that.
Yes. Let's look at the issue of before we go on break, professional integration. I mean,
Yeah,
how do migrants go about finding job? Let's say, for example,
yeah,
in the UK. I mean,
yes,
the issue of starting business is another thing. I know you have an idea of how to start business, but today we're looking at how people get jobs.
good
How do
jobs.
you
Yeah.
think migrants get job in the host country? What strategy had worked for someone you know or probably had worked for you?
Um, there are a number of ways, but the first thing I like to say is community.
Mm.
Is joining the community. Now, there are two very important types of communities you need to join when you move to a new country. or you need to, yeah, just make sure just find your way to different communities or a community, so to say. And the first one is a community of natives, of the native people, the community of native people of that country, people,
Mm.
the people who own the country, the people who
Yeah.
have lived there, right? There is that community. It's they understand the way the system works.
Yeah.
They understand the way things go here, right? They
Mm-hmm.
understand the places you can even get jobs. They understand the kind of jobs you should apply to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So join communities that would really help you. Communities, migrant communities, communities of the indigenous or native people of that
Yeah.
country. Try to make friends. Now, by making friends, I mean try to build relationships with people. And the good thing is, internet has made everything a lot easier. Right? You can join
Definitely.
communities
Yes.
online. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you can join different communities online, Slack, LinkedIn.
Mm.
In fact, even getting clients as somebody as people, people who do business, you get clients from communities too, right?
Definitely.
For
Yes.
job, communities work well for getting jobs, whether it's LinkedIn community, Facebook. Just look for communities, especially professional communities,
Communities.
right? Those are very good places to get jobs as well, whether it's on LinkedIn
Yeah.
or Slack
There is a
or Facebook.
particular one here in Glasgow that also moved around United Kingdom now. The black professionals
Oh,
now had transformed from being only in Scotland to being in
another
all
part of
throughout
the
the United Kingdom. Yeah,
yeah,
all the
yes,
UK.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
So yeah, joint communities, you find you can, they can really. It's not just about the job opportunities. It's also about navigating your career.
yeah.
You get a lot of advice from people there, who are willing to help you navigate your career. You get a lot of information that you
Mm-hmm.
can use,
Mm.
to your advantage. So
Mm.
communities are good. Yeah. In fact, I've seen quite a number of social media platforms. They are not necessarily communities in that regular sense, but there are quite a number of social media creators who talk about jobs, how
Yeah.
to get jobs, who post
Yeah.
new jobs, remote jobs, and all that. So if you're looking for something, you need to go find it. So
Mm.
make sure you look at those communities, um, and be willing to do. Again, this of course this may not apply to everybody, but be willing to volunteer, be willing to get some valuable experience
Yeah.
within the country, relevant experience in the
It's
country,
in
because
country.
that's another factor. So even though you have experience coming from home, many times having experience, having
In that
local experience in that
context.
country, yeah, helps you a lot, right? It gives you it's an advantage, right?
Yeah.
If you've done marketing in Nigeria, that's
Mm-hmm.
good. You've done marketing in South Africa, that's good. But
Okay.
if you had marketing experience in the UK to it gives you a leg up when you're trying to get a job.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, just this one. What do you think are the barriers to entry the industry? Say, for instance, someone is coming from the banking world in Nigeria, coming from, I mean, the teaching world, education world. What do you think are the barriers to entering that particular industry, and how do you think migrants can address these issues? Just briefly before we go on break.
Uh, it depends. So I know those are examples, right? But so I'm not a banker. I don't know much about those industries. But like I said, it's always good to get advice from people who have been there.
Mm,
Connect with people. It's one of the best ways you can get opportunities in life is through people. That's the
true
truth.
people. Yeah.
When whether you're trying to get a contract, or you're trying to get a job, it just helps if you have somebody who is interested in you, who wants to help you inside. There's
Yeah.
that insider advantage. So if you're trying to get into banking in by the way, I actually know someone who came from Nigeria and got a job. I think she actually got a job before she got to the UK. And
Mm.
she was a banker in Nigeria, then she got a job in a bank in the
There are
UK.
quite a number of
Good,
examples like that. I know someone
yeah, good
too, a very
salary,
young guy that
yeah,
got a job straight
so the
from.
best people to ask for advice are those people who have done it. I can just point you to, okay, go meet these people. But those people would actually give you the kind of advice that will help you, regardless of the industry. So
Okay.
if you want to join banking in the UK, find people who are already working as bankers,
Okay.
migrants,
Okay.
and also look for a mentor. A mentor would also help you, especially, and again, there's no, you can, yes, you can get if you're a migrant, look for a mentor within the migrant community in your industry, but also look for a mentor that is native to that country.
Native to that
So
country.
yes, it's very very helpful. I've heard a lot of good stories from you just
Yeah.
finding a mentor who is interested
Definitely.
in this,
Definitely.
who is,
So many good
yes,
stories. So many good
yes.
stories that
So
one
that
had. Mm.
if you don't leverage relationships, in fact, you need relationships. That's the long and short of it. You need relationships, in whatever you decide to do, whether you want to start a business um, or you want to get a job or anything. You need relationships.
Okay. At this moment, we'll go on a short break, about 5 minutes, and then when we're back from break, we'll consider the issue around impact of migration on career and personal life, then the future of career migration. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned, and we'll be back after this short break.
LagosLoaded.com.
You dey walk oh, you dey pray, you dey push oh, every day. You dey try oh, no be play, but your hustle never pay. And you think say God you know dey for your side, and you want to find another way to prosper. You think say God you know just get your time. A beauty gbàgbé ìlérí t'Olúwa ṣe. Àìmásìkò ló dààmú ẹ̀dá o. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Àìmásìkò ló dààmú ẹ̀dá o. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Lọ́wọ́ Olúwa, yeah. You dey wait for your lover, you want to marry. You dey vex your time, don't dey go. You dey ask you for bouncing, baby. You say, Father, please, no forget you. You think say God, you know dey for your side, and you want to find another way to prosper. And you think say God, you know just get your time. A beauty gbàgbé ìlérí t'Olúwa ṣe. Nobody knows tomorrow. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Àìmásìkò ló dààmú ẹ̀dá o. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa. Lọ́wọ́ Olúwa, yeah.
LagosLoaded.com.
Àìmásìkò ló dààmú ẹ̀dá o. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ló wà. Àìmásìkò ló dààmú ẹ̀dá o.
LagosLoaded.com. LagosLoaded.com.
And thank you for staying tuned to TouchPoint with Tayo. Just like that song, that our lives are definitely got to end. Man proposes, but God indeed disposes. And thank you, my producer, Samson, for that sound that you gave. I still have my guest and my conversationalist with me in the Jambo Radio Scotland live here in Glasgow. But Gbenga Sogbaike is joining from London here in UK. He's a content marketing professional, and we've been talking about navigating new horizons, career migration and strategies for those who have migrated to host countries seeking new experiences in terms of their career. And send your questions and your comments, and we'll be dealing with it as the program goes on. So Gbenga, we've talked about professional integration. I got this statistics from one of the institutes at Oxford universities that says in 2002 the Africans, East and Southeast Asian are more likely to work in health and care sectors. 42% of sub-Saharans were care workers. Another says that highly educated migrants are often overqualified for their job. That is, their education level is above the typically required for the job. Don't you think this is like a retrogressive thing in terms of when one travels out, migrates from your home country to your host country, and you find yourself doing some jobs that are below your career, in which your career progression is like you just dipped, like Bitcoin would dip. It's just like a dip like that in terms of career, career stuff. Yeah. So, what will you say to that?
Frankly, so to be honest,
it seems the reality, that reality is deep and is deep.
It's deep and sad, to be honest. I'll be very honest. It's very sad. Because I've seen this, and I don't know who is going to watch this, but if I were to give a very candid advice to especially Nigerians who want to come to the UK for their masters, I'm going to tell them, if your intention is to get a job with that masters, I assure you that it's not the right move. Trust me.
Is it for everyone?
Not for everyone, right? So there are some very specialized master's degrees that would really help you get a very good job, especially if your field requires it.
But if your field is definitely what they need around.
Yes. So, but if it is not, so I'll give you an example. I've seen, and I don't. There are many stories. Right? Like, Nigerians or migrants come to this country. They come to get a master's degree. They pay thousands of pounds, and then after their degrees, where do they work? Care jobs, support, warehouse, and like those jobs are the base of the economy. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people doing care jobs because those are very essential jobs actually, especially in this economy. They are very essential jobs for this economy.
And when you understand that there is dignity in labor here.
Yes, yes. So if you want to do it, that's what you really want to do. It's actually a good job, for those who want to do it. But unfortunately, I do not believe most people want that kind of job. That job. Most people who do the job, especially based on, looking at the stats you just read out, do it pending when they get what they want.
Yeah.
So it is not bad to do a job that pays your bills till you find what you actually want, what you're looking for, right? I know someone who did a master's here, but she hasn't gotten the kind of job she's looking for. So she currently does support, but she's taking professional exams, taking another, and then she's beginning to get
At least
interviews for
continuous personal development
so
is there.
personal development is essential.
Yes.
Frankly, your master's
It's just basic.
to be honest, you can literally come to this country and just have an SSC from Nigeria and you will still get that job. This care support job. So it's not like they said, they are mostly overqualified for the job they get. It's because the job itself does not require the experience that many of these guys bring.
They're just
You used to be a
more of routine.
Yeah, it's a routine job. Yeah, it's just care, it's just support. It's not a lot. It requires a lot of patience, not a lot of skill. So that's the job that many migrants who are just coming get. So yes, I agree that it's a D. It's clearly not on your path. If you've been trying to say you're in marketing and then you do care job, that's a digression, right? But again, based on the reality of things, you can still do that job pending when, but don't. I think my advice to people is that don't. There's a tendency for people to come to this country and settle
And be comfortable.
And be comfortable. Now, it's not because the comfort is there. It's just because, yes, there is a glass ceiling. It might be invisible, but there's a glass ceiling. There's a lot of things you need to deal with when you're in somebody else's country, especially in this country. The economy is not very huge. It's not very large. It's not like the US. The salary is not high. Most salaries in this country are very low, for being honest. The tax is a lot. So for the job that you will get $150,000 for in the US, you probably get £35,000, right? In the UK. That converted to US dollars is maybe $40-something thousand. So you're underpaid compared to your colleagues in the US, right? And then you have to pay 40%. Overall, when you calculate,
the more, the higher you go and stuff like that.
Exactly. So it's almost as if there's a deliberate attempt to make sure people are not too rich and people are not too
that the world is balanced.
Yeah. Exactly. So if you want to make money, right, and you don't want to pay as much tax, US is better for you. Again, you have to check what is the tax regime in the state you're going to, because the states in the US have different tax requirements and all that. California, for example, is different from San Francisco and all that. So if you want to make money, and this is the advice I give people that are close to me that want to travel, that want to go for better career opportunities. The US has the best career opportunities anywhere in the world compared to any country, whether in the West, any country.
So we should be ready now. You mean we should move again?
So then it depends on what you are looking for. If you're looking for, I also know people who say, you know what, the salary in the UK is not out of the US, but I have more comfort, more peace of mind in the UK.
And it is easy to travel back home than to say you want to. I mean, that is like a traffic stuff in Lagos or in most part of Africa.
Yes, actually, 6 hours you're back home. But the other thing is this: 6 hours you're back home. If you're broke, you're not going anywhere. So it's not going up. So what's the point? So
let's see how that affects personal life of migrants, especially in terms of work-life balance, family dynamics, and social connection. in terms of, I mean, they came here and they are doing a job in which they are overqualified for. How does that affect their personal life?
In different ways. So one is you're not earning the right amount that you typically want to earn. A care worker cannot earn the salary of a mid-level manager in a consulting firm or an investment banker that is just starting out. Right? You have 7 years, 8 years experience or 5 years experience in Nigeria. You come here, you start as a care worker. There's no way on earth you're going to earn as much as the entry-level guy, investment banker, that gets bonuses and all that. There's a minimum level, there's a minimum salary for everybody, you know, yes, but you don't earn as much as those people. So the fact that you earn a low salary means that your buying power is limited, your purchasing power is limited, the comfort you can afford is limited, the house you can rent, you can't rent just you can't just your purchase power is limited, right? So you can't afford everything you probably want to buy. So that means that you have to let go of certain comforts for you to meet up, right? For you to just be good. So that can have a strain on the family itself. If finance is a problem, that can have a strain on the family. Also,
especially if one is thinking about the past, that I used to live large. My house back in Africa is big. I've built my house. Now I moved from being a landlord back to being a tenant. How do you think that stress weighs?
Of course, that tells, again, I think in the end, people need to be realistic. Yes, you used to live in a house that is 4 times bigger than this, but this is where you are now. How do you make the best use of it? How do you then go from this house? And that takes me back to the previous point I made. Don't settle. Yes, it's not what you want for now, but don't settle and then say, well, let's just start paying mortgage, be here for 30 years. For me, I think it's a defeated lifestyle. If you come to this country, it's better to just go back to Nigeria and go and hustle yourself. And I tell people, if I'm being honest, again, maybe I'm speaking from a privileged position, but I believe strongly I can make more money in Nigeria than this country.
Yeah.
For now, right? Of course, £1,000 in this country is like 50 million naira in Nigeria and all that. So the value is a lot, but so is the tax we're going to pay. So is the requirement. Everybody's trying to take money from me in this country. Internet, contract. Everybody's trying to take money from you. So you need to learn how to make the money and keep the money, so that you don't spend more than half of the money.
So you are in church saying that one should be like that prodigal son, that after his migration out of his father's house and seeing all the taxes that he has been given while he was away, he sat down one day that
my father's house.
In my father's house,
I used to ball. yes, and that's why it's very important to be sure, or to really ask yourself very tough questions when you need to make this decision. This
migration thing.
You need to be sure. In fact, I'm going to be very, very honest. You need to pray about it. Should I travel or not? And as Pastor Podemade once said, Greenland, I can't remember. They'll say the land is green
on the other side.
In grass is where God says you should be. That's very true. So don't just say, people are don't join the bandwagon, right? People are migrating, yes.
So you mean we must hear? That means our ears must be
attuned to the voice. So that
to the voice. But the major thing is, I mean, and that is where those are quite unanswered questions. How do you know he has spoken to you? That's another thing entirely. I think that is just personal to quite a number of people. That's personal, and we cannot go there.
We can't. No, we can't.
We can't go there, because at the end of the day, when someone gets to that point and says, God, you told me to to move. Oh, now I am in this. I'm in this deep.
But then again, right? The fact that God told you to move does not mean you will not face some challenges.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
So,
think you
but
just
what is
nailed it
important?
there.
Yes. What is important is that you just need to be sure. You need to have that conviction that you really want to make this move. Whether you're going to the I've heard stories of Nigerians that are in the US but they are
Mm.
homeless. So the fact that I said the US has a bigger, better economy does not mean that everybody
There
is
are
going
also
to make
homeless people. There are homeless everywhere. There are
everywhere in the
rich
world.
people in Nigeria. There are homeless
Like,
people anywhere you
you
go.
know, and many
That are
Nigerians
just
are paying
class.
for their kids here. Many Nigerians are richer than people who say they have traveled, they have jackpot. Many
Yes,
Nigerians back home
and
are
many
richer than
Nigerians
them
are sending money back home.
back home. So yes,
So
yes.
it's
So it
a
depends.
it's a word or two. I mean,
Yes.
it's a
So
two
it's
word
not.
thing. So it's not
I
just a
can't give you
single story
a
thing.
advice and say travel or migrate or don't migrate. I think in the end it's your decision, but just be sure that you're not making that decision based um, on a whim
Bandwagon.
or on a fantasy, yeah, or because
Mm,
everybody's migrating, so you're migrating.
mm,
No, you don't need to do that, right? And also, you need to. So, which is why it always helps before you travel, before you migrate. If you can, build certain, try to join communities online, try to make
before
friends with
you.
people who are already there before you even make the move. There are people who found who secured jobs here before they even left their
Hmm.
country of origin. So it works
Definitely,
for
yeah.
everybody. And no two, people have different journeys, right? Your journey is not exactly the same
The
as
reason why
yours.
I asked you about your journey, the song that fits your journey, and the and the stuff.
Yeah,
So for those of you who are you are part of the audience and you are listening or watching this right now, can you type or just put in what song would you be playing? Even it doesn't matter whether you have traveled out or not. In this journey of your life, what song will fit a stop of your life? Put that stop and put the song there, and we'll see what song you'll be playing. Gbenga, what is the future of career migration as we wrap up?
yeah. There are a number of things that I think will influence it. One is we can't pretend like we don't know what is happening in
Africa or in the world?
global, yeah, in global regional politics and all that. So
Even
a few
work is
weeks ago,
changing.
yes. So there are a number of factors that really influence that. But I think for me, the most important factor would actually be um, the political factor,
Mm,
right? Migration is a political issue, whether we
yeah.
like it or not. And in certain countries or quite a number of countries, politicians use it to, whip up their base and all that. So if people, and then again, so it's those policies that the governments of different countries of those countries make will determine whether you can migrate there for career
Mm-hmm.
opportunities or not. So there's the
Mm-hmm.
political aspect of it. We are seeing more um, policies, more nationalist, far rights, or whatever they call the
Yeah.
movements, calling for a reduction in migration and all that. Even though we know that most of these calls are usually political, they are not
Yeah.
based on cold, hard facts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most of it, they're not based on the objective reality. But that would influence migration for career purposes. It would
Mm, mm,
influence it. There is also the nature of work that is changing, right?
yeah.
We talked about how people in Nigeria are working for global companies in the US, in other parts of Africa, and all that. So that would also influence it. Sometimes, in fact, I think we see an increase in that where you don't necessarily have to migrate
Yeah.
to work or to get kind of job that you want to get. I know, for example, that many US companies are shipping jobs to the Philippines or to
Mm,
Mexico and to those countries that are closer to because, so for example, customer service jobs, quite a number of jobs actually, customer service jobs, marketing jobs, content jobs are moving to those countries even client-facing jobs like the customer service I've mentioned are moving to the Philippines and similar countries because one, so their work hours are quite similar to that of the US. The time zone rather are quite similar, and they have skills, right? And they are more affordable. So instead of paying a US citizen or a US resident 10,000 or $5,000 per month, you can pay someone in the Philippines $1,500, and they do the exact same job and do it well.
And
Now,
before you wake up,
for,
because before you wake up,
yes,
they had actually done it.
yes, and then even while you are awake, their time zones also in a way matches with the US time,
Yeah.
so you can still interface with them while you're awake. So there is that, but I think that's also an advantage for people in Africa, for people in the developing world. So, for example, I know that many South Africans are getting employed by UK companies
Yeah.
because of the time zone, right? So I know it, at least 2 or 3 companies that I know personally that offer that service. They help
Yeah.
South Africans find jobs in the UK, so they connect UK businesses with South Africans, right? Now it's an advantage for Nigerians too because we have our time zone is similar and we have
Yeah.
competent hands and all that. So I think that's going to the remote job will keep growing. Many people will work from home. And then
Yeah.
we have the nomads as well who just work from
Who
anywhere,
work
work,
from.
travel.
Okay.
Yeah, we see more nomad visas being introduced by different governments,
Introduced
including South
by
Africa.
quite a number of years. So
Yeah,
if
South Africa, there are quite a number of other countries. As well. Yeah.
so because of our time, um, if you will give one advice to aspiring migrants, what would that be? Just one.
Look before you leap.
Okay, fine. Look before you leap. So
Yeah.
let me
Don't
ask
join the bad
you.
one.
Okay, let me ask you this personal. Um, have you ever considered returning to your home country? And what will it take you to take that decision?
I
A minute.
have I ever considered moving back?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. But do I see myself living
What would
abroad
yeah?
forever?
What would take you
No.
to go back?
Opportunities. If I find a solid business that I need to go back home, and of course I'm going to do it.
You know
I
what
don't
came to my
I don't
mind?
see myself as being tied to this country or any country. Nigeria is still my home eventually. So even if I become or get passport and become resident in a million countries,
Okay.
I would always go back to Nigeria. It's where I really like.
Time and chance happens to them all.
Oh, yeah.
As we wrap up, I know there are so many angles that we've not touched on this,
Yes.
but I want to leave it to the viewers and listeners to just keep the conversation going. Your parting shot, Gbenga speaks. What will it be?
Well, in everything you want to do, whatever decision you want to make, just make sure that you align with God's purpose for your life. That's it.
On that note, I want to say thank you, Gbenga Sogbaike, for coming on the TouchPoint with Tayo.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time. He's a friend and he's also a brother too.
He's my girl. He's the reason why I have a big, for example. So yeah.
Thank you, Gbenga, for coming on to TouchPoint with Tayo. Thank you, the team and the production crew. Thank you, my producer, Samson, Baron, and Tosin. Thank you to all the TouchPoint with Tayo's backroom team, the researchers on social media handlers. Thank you so much. And to my listeners and audience, thank you for joining us today and every week. And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, remember our parting shots. Life's journey unfolds uniquely. Run your race to attract grace, for it is only in the race that grace finds its expression or finds its way. I've been your host. I am Tayo Oweye. Join me next week for another exciting conversation and episode on TouchPoint with Tayo. Until then, I wish you a happy night rest.